Right now on Hoosier News Source, find out how a $6 million grant used to combat pollutants in the atmosphere will be a breath of fresh air for IU.
And an organization on campus remembers a Washington Post journalist 1 year after his death.
And I have when to expect unseasonably warm temperatures as well as a major cool down in this roller coaster of a week for weather in Bloomington. Hoosier News Source starts now.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier News Source. I'm Allison Zyhammer.
And I'm Noelle Friel.
We start off our show with news that the new college internship program is relocating to downtown Bloomington. The 8,000-foot office will be located in the heart of downtown in the Mercury Building, which is designed specifically as a comprehensive transition program for young adults on the autistic spectrum and adults with learning disabilities. It offers college education at IU or Ivy Tech, multiple wellness classes and activities, as well as employment and internship opportunities. A ribbon-cutting ceremony will take place on October 18th in honor of their new location.
Speaking of new locations for businesses, another Soma coffee house and juice bar is coming to town. The popular Bloomington staple will take up residence on 581 Hillside Drive, which used to house Una Restaurant. Una originally opened as a rebrand of Chef Erica Yoakum's Feast Bakery Cafe, but shut down after only 7 months in business. The opening date of the new Soma Cafe has not yet been released.
The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has awarded a nearly $6 million grant to scientists at the O'Neill School for monitoring airborne pollutants of the Great Lakes. The grant will support the Integrated Atmospheric Deposition Network, which is a network between the U.S. and Canada that monitors air pollutants in the Great Lakes Basin. This network, which has been managed at IU for the last 25 years, helps researchers study toxic airborne chemicals. This grant from the EPA will allow the network to continue their work for the next 5 years.
Last year, a Washington Post columnist was killed in the Saudi Arabian consulate in Turkey. Last week marked the 1-year anniversary of Jamal Khashoggi's death, and students on campus held a vigil in his memory. Our Hoosier News Source reporter Ella Rose spoke with attendees about how they want to honor the journalist's memory. Take a look.
Students of the IU chapter of Reporters Without Borders gathered outside of Franklin Hall Wednesday night to honor the 1-year anniversary of Jamal Khashoggi's death.
We're just really trying to bring awareness to this issue that journalism is threatened and reporting is really important.
Professors and other students who aren't in Reporters Without Borders joined the candlelight vigil next to the Ernie Pyle statue in Khashoggi's honor.
Issues like this happen constantly, and it's not just Jamal in Saudi Arabia, this is all over the world. And our press freedom here in the U.S. is threatened. We're becoming more and more threatened, actually, especially in the recent federal administration.
The president of Reporters Without Borders, Ann Lewandowski, spoke a few words about Khashoggi. Unfortunately, the wind was too strong for the candles, so Lewandowski asked the crowd to hold up flashlights on their phones.
It's a huge issue with press freedom and with just human rights in general.
She feels it's important to learn what rights she has as an incoming member of the press.
I think it's really important to not normalize the suppressing of the press and to really emphasize when these things happen, when violations happen, and it's not just something that we can ignore. It's something that's really important to our daily lives.
Students and professors walked all the way up from Franklin Hall to the School of Law to hear an editor from the New York Times speak about freedom of the press.
Such viciousness and disdain for the First Amendment has done more than poison the atmosphere and political discourse.
Giacomo focused her speech on the lack of faith Americans have in news outlets because of the current presidential administration and the dangers reporters currently face.
More than 1,300 journalists have been killed worldwide since 1992, including at least 63 last year. And among them was Jamal Khashoggi.
This is more than just about journalists being able to do their job, removed from government censorship and intimidation. This is about everyone.
For Hoosier News Source, I'm Ella Rhodes.
This was the first event Reporters Without Borders held this year. They plan on holding other events later in the year advocating for freedom of the press. Coming up, a 24-hour campaign by one of the largest student-run philanthropies in the nation took place right here on campus.
And Alex Gatman is in studio with us to tell us if we can finally break out of those fall sweaters and boots yet. Stay with us. Another IU dorm will be vacated for renovations next year. The IU Board of Trustees has approved the plan to renovate Collins Living Learning Center. An architectural company has already taken 3D scans of the walls and ceilings of the buildings that will be updated. For the 2021 school year, the LLC will be housed in Foster Shea. Current Collins residents who are recontracted to live in Foster are eligible to apply for retention scholarships, which are due October 16th. Renovation of Collins is scheduled to begin in summer of 2020. Let's toss it over to Noelle with IU's Day of Hope story.
IUDM is coming up quickly, and some students are already out raising money. Our Hoosier News Source reporter Julia Lostetter stopped by the annual Day of Hope to talk to some excited IUDM committee members.
That's the sound of IU kids making a difference. This past Thursday, IU Dance Marathon committee members came together at the IMU in order to hold a 24-hour fundraiser in order to raise money for Riley's Hospital for Children.
I don't know 90% of the people in here, but I've been asking them for donations, and I have gotten some.
IU's Day of Hope started in 2016 and was created in order to raise money and awareness for the Riley Hospital for Children in preparation for IU's annual Dance Marathon, which is this coming November 15th through the 17th. I talked to Morale Committee Head Carter Sims about what he does to get these kids motivated.
Year we're raising morale, raising the energy, raising the hype the whole year for all the other committees and all the dancers. So we kind of interact with dancers, and as well we interact with freshmen and other committees to kind of set the bar in fundraising.
I'm here today in front of the Dancer Relations table where these IU students are trying to raise money for Riley Children's Hospital. The committee's goal for today, raising $29,000 in 24 hours.
Last year, IU students raised a record $497,328 for the kids of Riley. And this year, students are continuing the tradition of getting creative to help the kids.
In order to raise money for the kids at Riley's Hospital for Children, we got tattoos.
You can actually feel like the tangible change that you're making, and that's like what makes IUDM so great.
For Hoosier News Source, I'm Julia Lostetter.
If you would like to learn more about the Riley Hospital for Children, donate to the cause, or find out how you can participate in the IU Dance Marathon, you can log on to www.iudm.org for more information. And here's to hoping that the humid temperatures we experienced last week are long gone, as IU students are more than ready to take on the fall weather. Alex Gatman is here to give us the details. Alex?
Thanks, Noelle. It seems like it was just starting to feel like fall, and we're already going to have warmer temperatures towards the end of this week, but thankfully they won't be staying around this time. Late this week, we'll have a low pressure area coming through northern Minnesota, bringing with it freezing cold temperatures and even snowfall out west. Luckily for us, though, we won't be getting any of that. All we'll be getting is this thin band of rain coming through late Friday night into Saturday morning. But thankfully, that should all be cleared out by the time the football game starts at noon on Saturday. If you're going to be out tailgating for that game, you might want to bring a jacket as it's going to be chilly and windy. 46 degrees in the morning, only about a 20% chance of rain, but we will have gusts of wind up to 20 miles per hour. As the sun slowly starts to come out later throughout the day, the temperature should start to go back up. 53 degrees at noon when the game starts, all the way up to 58 as the day continues late into the afternoon. Taking a look at the extended forecast, those hot temperatures are back through 70 degrees up to 80 degrees on Thursday, falling all the way down to 58 degrees on Saturday with that chance of rain again on Friday. If you're going to be heading outside at night this weekend, you're definitely going to want to wear a coat because it is going to be cold. 39 degrees on Friday night, all the way down to 35 degrees on Saturday night. So make sure you bundle up. It is going to be a chilly one. But even when those temperatures drop, IU athletics keep heating up. It's time for Sports to the Max with Maxwell Glenn. Maxwell?
Thanks, Alex. College basketball season is a month away, but IU basketball gave a little taste of what's to come. Hoosier fans showed out for the annual Hoosier Hysteria event out at Simon Scott. In front of packed stands, Indiana fielded a three-point contest, skills competition, dunk contest, and scrimmage. I always love to see the men's and women's teams playing together at Hoosier Hysteria. The standouts, Trace Jackson Davis, who donned the number 40 jersey and won the dunk contest. Calbert Cheney was in the house, and he was loving it. On the women's side, Jalen Penn won the three-point contest, knocking them down left and right. Make sure you keep an eye on her this season. November 5th will be the men's home opener, and November 7th will be the women's. Well, it's homecoming week here in Bloomington, and that means the stands are going to be packed at Memorial Stadium. IU is set to face Rutgers in a matchup favoring the Hoosiers, but this game isn't one to take lightly. Indiana needs to take this game seriously. Mike Penix talked about it on Monday. They've had a week off with the bye, and they need to win after a rough loss to Michigan State. They've had time to watch film and rest up. IU needs more wins if they want to end this season with a bowl game. But this is a game Indiana can win. Rutgers comes to town with a 1-4 record. The Hoosiers will need to lock down the Scarlet Knights on defense and keep up that offensive spark led by Mike Penix. Kickoff is at noon. It's the bicentennial this year, and homecoming is bound to be a good one. Now check this out. You thought the Little 500 was a spring thing? Think again. The fall cycling series took place over the weekend, bringing that Little 5 spirit back to Bloomington. The biker community was out in full force this weekend. Saturday, street sprints. How cool is this? They turned Kirkwood into a biking drag strip. Over 170 male and female bikers were out there competing. Now Sunday, tailgate fields for cyclocross, no tailgates, instead a road course. But look out, it was raining out there, and that got the best of some racers. Teams were slipping and sliding, but these riders apparently were not going to be stopped by that rain. The race goes on, and this marks the final event of the fall cycling series. And that's your sports to the max. Noelle and Allison, happy homecoming week. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Max, and thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hoosier News Source.
To learn more about this week's stories, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at IUS TV News.
I'm Noelle Friel.
And I'm Allison Zeihammer. From Bloomington, Indiana, we'll see you next time.